Hi and welcome. In the October release of Photoshop there are a load of new features and enhancements for you to look at. In this video I'm going to take you through the enhancements to the Select and Mask task space to help you create even better selections of hair. Now we have a new button on the tool options bar called Refine Hair, and in the task space itself we have a new refine mode called Object Aware. Now this mode is best for hair or fur on more complex backgrounds. Okay, so let's dig in and see how all this works. Now Photoshop 2021 brings us a small but significant improvement to Select and Mask space with the Refine Hair button and a new refine mode called Object Aware. Now to set the edge refinement method used by edge detection, refine hair and the refine edge brush tool, you can click on either Colour Aware. Now I would choose this mode for simple or contrasting backgrounds. And Object Aware, the new one, I would choose this mode for hair or fur on complex backgrounds. And then if it was hair or fur, I will be clicking on the Refine Hair button. Okay, let's dig in. Okay, before we start, let's talk about managing your expectations. It's really important when you're using these tools that you do manage your expectations. It's highly unlikely that you're ever going to get a perfect cutout where hair's concerned, so don't expect it, then you won't be disappointed. There's a really good reason why this tool is not called the perfect extraction tool, because it isn't. The alternative name they thought of was the gets it right most of the time tool but sometimes does not. Well, that didn't have a really catchy ring to it. Many things control the quality of a selection edge. Understand that Photoshop is a computer program, so it's got limitations. One of the strongest tools in its armoury is contrast. If there is enough, it'll select it and it won't struggle. If there isn't enough, then it will struggle. One such area is depth of field, where the area is in focus and then there's areas that are not in focus. Now Photoshop will produce great results in the in-focus areas and pretty ropey results really in the are not areas. And these areas are due to lack of contrast. So do temper your enthusiasm with a bit of reality. Now this don't mean you can't get near perfection with a few Photoshop skills and a little time, but the likelihood is that one-click solution will not give you selection nirvana. Every new addition to the tool will cut down the time it takes to get a good selection, but mostly you will need to bring other tools to bear to get that perfect hair selection. Now you need to examine the images that you want to composite. Don't assume that every combination is going to work. Look at the tones in the images. If you've got dark hair against a dark background, then the job probably will be so tough as to make trying it a waste of time. So move on to the next image if you want a quick result. Really busy backgrounds will not be good for your stress levels. They'll leave you with a heck of a clean-up job to do. So let's have a look at the new addition to Select and Mask and see how it performs. Okay, let's have a look at this as an example. Here we've got an image of a man that I want to cut out, but he has got quite frizzy and flyaway hair. And I've got him in a document where I've got the actual image that I want to composite into underneath here. So step one is to make an initial selection. Now you can use any selection tool to create this selection, but by far the quickest and most efficient is the Select Subject. Now to access this tool you've got to have one of the tone selection tools. If I click on my crop tool you'll see that these will disappear from the tool options bar, but when I click on one of these, any one, we'll just leave this as the magic wand tool. You can see that I've got Select Subject and Select and Mask. So I just want Select Subject, so I'm just going to click on that and Photoshop will go away and do its thing, and it'll bring me back a reasonably good selection of the main subject in the photograph. Step 2, we need to enter the Select and Mask Workspace. And we can do that by clicking on the Select and Mask button in the tool options bar. and that will open up the task space. Now the first thing, we've got some view modes. My favourite tool really, if we click this little button here, we've got what's called onion skin, and that gives us the option to be able to drop the transparency between the two layers. Or we can just go to the bottom and I click on layers, because I like to see the underlying layer to see what it looks like and how it fits as I'm actually doing the edit. Now the tool itself produces a pretty good effect from the get-go. We've got some little issues around the top here and around here where we've got some little hairs that don't seem to have been selected fully. And so what's happened is we've got some halo pixels coming through around the edge of the fine hairs. That's a common thing that we can do, we can change. But what we've got now, we've got two refine modes. We've got the colour aware mode, and this is how it's always been. It's basically the mode that we've always had. And it's the mode that that everything works with. So the refine edge brush and things like that, they all work with this colour aware mode. The new one we've got, which is based more on contrast, is object aware. And I can click on that one so we can have either way of trying to select the hair. Object aware is the one that's probably better. And I'm then going to click on the new button at the top called refine hair. And what that's going to do is have a go at finding all the hair. And it's not done a bad job. That's pretty good. I think from the get-go, I think that is pretty good. We can always try colour aware and then refine the hair and see if it's any better or any worse. In this case, I don't think there's much in it, to be honest. We'll go back to object aware and have a look, see if it'll change. Now, not much in it, so I'll leave it at object aware as it is. And we can see that we've still got these little halo pixels. And as I've said before, these are because Photoshop hasn't really got a grasp on them as being proper objects. It thinks it's a little bit out of focus. Is that hair or is it not? And what it tends to do is bring halo pixels through with it. So what we need is a method of getting rid of them halo pixels. Now what we can do now is go down to what's called decontaminate colours. Now before we do that, you have always got the option to go back and use the refine edge brush and go around all these edges. But too much and it starts degrading the edges. Now what's happening now with the refine hair, it does a lot of that for you. So basically it's less refining with the brush because that eventually does degrade the edge of the selection. So we've done that now, we're happy with that, and I'm going to try decontaminate colours. And you'll see what happens, bump. What it's done, it's replaced all the halo pixels with pixels of the actual hair, colour of the hair. And that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And then the last thing we need to do is to decide how we want to output it. There's several options here. My favourite is a new layer with a layer mask, because if I then want to process this further, this selection edge, if it's still not good enough, then coming out of Select and Mask, I can't go back in again. So I've then got a mask that I can process just with black and white and go around the edge and process it further. So I'm just going to click OK. And what that will do now, it turns off the original layer, it creates me a copy and creates me the mask. And if we just look at that, we can see that it is a pretty good mask. It's not bad at all. So I could then start processing this further if I wanted to, but to be honest, for this, it's good enough. And to look at that mask, I just held the Alt key down and I clicked on the mask itself, and it brings up the full mask, full screen. Okay, let's try another one. Here we've got this nice young lady on quite a grey neutral background from a studio shot. And the background I want to use is this one, which is quite colourful and probably matches in with the fact that she's got quite a few colours in her hair. But if you look at the thumbnails, we can see that the background layer looks lighter over at this left hand side and darker down at this bottom corner, as though the light's coming from this direction. But if I look at the young lady here, she's been lit from this side, from the right hand side. So to try and make this match a little bit better, what I'm going to do is flip her. So I'm going to do Control and T for transform. I'm going to right click inside here and I'm going to do flip horizontal. And now she should match a little bit better with the lighting that's in the bottom layer. And we'll click the tick to accept that. Okay, same process as before. We've got the lighting, I think, that's going to work a lot better. So first thing we need to do is make a selection. So I'm going to click on my tone selection tools and I'm going to click on select subject. And that's going to give me my initial selection. And hopefully a pretty good one. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. But the hair obviously is going to be problematic. But that's no problem. Can it be no problem after it's been problematic? I'm not sure why I said that. Okay, let's dig in a bit further. So we've got as initial selection. So now we need to go into Select and Mask. And from the get-go, that isn't too bad. And that's basically with everything set to default. That's not bad at all. So object aware is for more complex backgrounds. So let's try color aware. And then we'll click refine hair. And that's done a bit better job, though we've lost a little bit up in this top area here. So I'm going to try object aware, see if that does a better job. And I'm going to click refine hair again. No, we've still got a little bit missing there. Okay, so I'm going to go to my refine edge brush tool and we'll just swoosh over that little bit there. And no, we want to be in the opposite mode, so let's just swoosh over again. And that's better. That's brought that little bit of hair back there. We've got a little bit of halo pixels here, so I'll just do a quick swoosh over there. Swoosh being a new technical word in Photoshop, by the way. And I'll give that a little bit of a swoosh, and that does a little bit better. Okay, now what I want to do is say, well, everything else is fine. I've still got some halo pixels, but I don't want to go across them and keep going at the moment with that, with the brush. So what I'm going to try is decontaminate colours. So if I click on that, you'll see it adds some colours in. Let me just do that on and off. So off and on. You can see how much of a difference that makes. All these fine strands of hair, they come back into the composition now. And that is pretty cool. And then output, I'll output it to a new layer and a mask. So I've now got my layer and I've got my mask. And it's pretty good, but if I just Alt and click on the mask to bring it full screen, you can see that there are a couple of bits in here that want refining further. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my paintbrush and I'm going to make sure that its foreground colour is set to white, and then I'm just going to paint these little bits out. There, just to get a bit better selection. Whoops, I've gone a bit far there. Let's get back from there. We'll do edit and undo. And we've got a little bit of hair in there. I'll just get a bit softer brush and just see if I can brush the white back into there like that. Okay, that looks pretty cool and I'm happy with that. We're back to there. That looks pretty good. Well, that's it for the enhanced Select and Mask. I do hope that was useful to you. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. Or leave a comment under the video for me. That would be great. And please click that subscribe button and become part of the Live Link Training Learning community. That will be extremely helpful for me and would help me reach more people. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.